In the first part of this series, we discovered that the origins of evil in this world go very far back in time. During the ages, we have become so accustomed to bad things happening around us and to us that it's almost impossible to imagine that there is actually no reason for hunger or for sickness or poverty or war anywhere in the world. It is entirely possible for every child to grow up in a world of freedom, abundance and good health. So why do we still see children die from hunger every year? Why do we see child soldiers and children being orphaned by war? Why do so many children in the Western countries have obesity? Why are they not healthy? That is all due to the influence of the Cabal. The Cabal consists of some very rich and powerful families who are proud of their ancient bloodline. They have been gathering all the power and wealth in the world for so long, becoming richer and more powerful every year that no one has been able to defeat them. As they keep their family bloodlines pure, there are only a few Cabal families in the United States remaining. The bloodline families divided the power of the world among themselves, so one family is mainly the ruler of the banks. Another family pulls the strings in politics, and yet other families control healthcare, media, the energy supply, education and science. Nothing is left to chance. The so-called elected leaders of our governments are trained puppets of the Cabal, who must do exactly as they are told. The World Economic Forum is even proud of it. They boast publicly about their supply of young global leaders. Every country in the world, rich and poor alike, delivers a class of WEF graduates every year. These young global leaders are placed in key positions within corporations and governments. They are the leaders of every political party, left, right and everything in between. This guarantees that the WEF global policy is being followed regardless the outcome of the elections. This control of world leaders and the political world agenda is a huge step towards the Cabal's goal: total world domination. They want to achieve this through a one world government with a one world bank, a one world health organization, a one world army and so on. The Cabal faces many problems in their quest for world dominance. Their first and most important problem is that we, the people, are strong in our numbers. We are so many that we can easily stop the Cabal's plans. Over the centuries, the Cabal has tried a lot of actions to reduce the world's population. But since we are so many, the Cabal must come up with a clever way to get rid of us, without us realizing it. If the Cabal succeeded in its plans, how many people will be allowed to live on this planet? The answer is very shocking, as it was literally carved in stone. These are the Georgia Guidestones. Mysterious stones that tell us in 8 languages what the earth shall look like in their planned future. In very clear words, it starts with the declaration that the earth will be inhabited by only 500 million people. Since roughly 8 billion people currently live on earth, this means that 7.5 billion people will have to die. Only 6% of all people would be allowed to survive, if the plans of the Cabal succeed. This footage tells us otherwise. In the course of the last 2 centuries, the Cabal has published its ideas about depopulation in many reports. It's quite shocking to read about the most effective ways to wipe out the majority of Earth's population, and that their plans are being executed in such a deceitful way that the people don't realize it's being done on purpose. Without any form of empathy, these reports describe how effective wars and diseases are, how many casualties are to be expected, and what the costs are per death. These reports reveal how they created diseases and how they were spread. Kind of makes you wonder about the most recent pandemic, don't you think? The Cabal's reports talk about various ways of achieving the depopulation program, which is divided into short and long-term depopulation goals, between quick death and slow death. Short-term depopulation, or quick death, will be achieved with wars, natural disasters, famine and drought. Long-term depopulation, or slow death, can be reached with diseases like AIDS, cancer and epidemics or pandemics, poisons through air, water and food, but also in detergents and hygiene products, weakening our bodies by depriving us of sunlight and natural food, additives in food and replacing natural organic food with fake food, and vaccinations. These are the active forms of depopulation. The Cabal also found a passive form to exterminate us. They are trying to make sure we create fewer children, and they trick us into killing ourselves at an older age or when we're really sick. To lower the birth rate, the Cabal worked out a system of eugenics. This is a fancy word for racial improvement. Plato, a philosopher who lived 2500 years ago, wrote in his book The Republic of Plato that people should be allowed to reproduce only if the state approved so. Plato knew that this form of government interference would not be easily accepted, so he proposed to do it secretly through a rigged lottery system. People with bad genes or character traits would then be deliberately drawn out, and they would accept the result simply as bad luck. While the ideas of Plato still surface from time to time, the Cabal also considered other ways to achieve their vision of racial improvement. The eugenics movement thrived during and after World War II, trying to produce a strong Aryan race. These developments didn't go fast enough, so the eugenics movement merged into the abortion movement. Suddenly it seemed fine to kill an unborn child. Mothers didn't even need a medical excuse anymore. It was all about being the masters of their own bodies. The latest and most effective way to prevent the birth of children is to make people infertile. Bill Gates, the richest philanthropist in the US, made sure vaccines were developed that made young girls infertile. During vaccine trials in India, 50,000 children were paralyzed by his polio vaccine, and millions of women and girls were infertilized against their will. All paid for by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and supported by the United Nations, UNICEF and the World Health Organization. And mind you, these programs are still active today, doing its disastrous damage to millions of children worldwide. This is the man behind the worldwide vaccination programs, Bill Gates.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Why should we trust a man like this when he wants to rescue the world through the COVID vaccine? Another passive form of depopulation is when people are encouraged to end their lives prematurely. Meet Jacques Attali, advisor to the French presidents. He talks about euthanasia, a legal form of killing, as being good for the economy. But as soon as you get over 60, 65 years old, the man lives longer than he produces, and he then costs society dearly. Euthanasia will be one of the essential instruments of our future societies in all cases. To begin with, fundamental freedom is suicide. So I think that euthanasia, whether it is a value of freedom or a commodity, will be one of the rules of the future society. Right now, euthanasia is already made legal in many countries. And still, the Cabal's plans have not been successful enough to get rid of us. So while we are waiting for our extinction, we have to be made submissive. We still pose a huge threat to the Cabal if the majority of people wake up to the truth and say, enough! We have arrived at a point in time where it has become a race against the clock. Will the Cabal succeed in their plans? Or will the people wake up before it's too late and stop them? Fortunately, more and more ordinary people are waking up right now and are really listening to what the elites actually say. They are standing up and sharing their findings with their fellow citizens. This is a huge threat to the Cabal's agenda, and their first countermove is to ridicule and discredit these awakened people. They are labeled conspiracy theorists and even extremists and terrorists. They are called a threat to society. Well, that part is true, as we don't want this society to continue this way, do we? As the majority of the people is still asleep, the Cabal adapted its strategy to be able to keep the trust of these gullible citizens. It created even more official reports and simply cloaked the same messages in different terms. Terms that sound very fancy and important to make the gullible people feel good, like population control and sustainability, instead of depopulation, and family planning instead of infertility and abortion. Multiple groups of scholars were brought together in so-called think tanks to offer advice to the Cabal's world government. I hope you realize by now that we are talking about the United Nations. One of the first advisory groups to the United Nations was the Club of Rome. It published a completely unfounded report that declared there are too many people in the world and that within 100 years there would not be enough food for everyone. Without hesitation, this conclusion was adopted worldwide and became the foundation for Agenda 21, which, in very complicated and fancy language, sets out the plan for the future of humanity. It established 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are not achievable until there is a world government that can control everything for all countries at once. Soon, Agenda 21 was followed by Agenda 2030. By the year 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals must be implemented worldwide. Therefore, you see the introduction of 15-minute cities all around the world at the same time. Smart cities arise with digital IDs and digital currency, all meant to control everything you do and every step you take. To force your compliance, they came up with the narrative of climate change. They claim our world is in grave danger because of the CO2 emitted by us humans. They completely ignore the fact that humans emit only 4.3% of the global CO2. Forest fires, volcano eruptions and other natural events emit more than 95% of the world's CO2. Beside that, CO2 is what makes all plants grow and thrive. We would all die if the CO2 levels were brought down too much. But again, the gullible people accepted this narrative, just as they accepted the COVID narrative. They will be locked up again, this time for climate reasons. They will allow the government and cabal to control every step they make, and the carbon footprint will be their life regulator. Their money and movement will be controlled. This is the form of control the cabal needs to be able to reach world domination. The next couple of years will tell us if they will fail or succeed. Do you think this is too far-fetched? Let's have a quick look at some of their other plans, shall we? This is Albert Pike. In one of his famous reports, he described that it would take the cabal 3 world wars before the New World Order could be established. The first 2 wars went exactly according to plan. Meet Henry Kissinger. He wrote in his 1974 report that rich countries should be allowed to plunder poor countries of all the minerals and natural resources. Why? To become rich and powerful, of course, and make the original rich countries poor and divided. That also worked out according to their plans. And right now we have Yuval Noah Harari, advisor to the World Economic Forum. He is talking about the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is going to create artificial people, making the vast majority of humanity redundant. We can see his predictions coming out all around us. The AI revolution, which will make the human population finally comply and die, has already begun. This is what I meant in the previous part by saying the cabal has almost reached this goal. With the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the World Bank and the World Economic Forum, the objective of a world government and thus world domination has almost been achieved. But we humans are not so easily eradicated. We are stronger than cockroaches, and we have the ability to adapt to bad living conditions. And because we are so tough, we will survive this too. All the poisoning of our air, food, water and medicines harmed us, but did not destroy us. And what's even more, precisely because of the depopulation plans, humanity is waking up. The world we took for granted is now subject to questioning. The COVID hoax and its vaccination damage have opened many eyes to the truth. Things nobody ever believed before have now become common knowledge. People can see that their governments don't really care about them. They can see the lies and deceit of those who seem to govern us. People are starting to realize that life can be better, that we don't have to suffer, and that there can be abundance for all. We are rediscovering our human values, meaning we are seeing that we need each other more than we need the comfort of AI. We rediscover organic food and self-sufficient living in small communities. We are rediscovering the value of growing up in freedom and finding out for ourselves what we really enjoy. We are rediscovering that we can be free, are able to love one another, and able to be good to other people and animals, and that this makes us happy. By redefining our humanity, we are going to beat the cabal. This truth has been shown to us in so many books and movies about our future. It's our ability to feel empathy and love that makes us invincible. How are we going to do this? How is humanity going to free itself from the cabal's web of lies and deceit? That is what we are going to investigate in part 3.